Okay, so we were talking it was two ago, where we had that on the abrasive paste, and then our last meeting, I had talked about doing like a demo, which you really can't demo abrasive paste. So what I did was I went home, I made some abrasive paste. Um, this is my first time doing it. I've done board butter, I've done all the other good stuff, but made some abrasive paste, and we're going to be selling it in the store. There's 18 tins right now. What I would like is for everybody to kind of, if you do buy it, come back to me, tell me if it was good, if it was bad, if it was horrid, how effective it was for you. Would you buy it again? And like, is the thickness what you want, or would you want it thinner or thicker or something like that? If there is still remains interest in it, I would have absolutely no problem making another batch, um, and continually making the batches for the club, because it definitely comes out pretty cheap at $6 a tin for 6 ounces.
What meeting is this?
Um,
Which one?
so I just have a couple pictures of when I made it and how I made it, and if there is no interest in us having it in the store, then you can make your own, is basically what I'm going through. Basically, this is what you need to make your abrasive paste. I went over to Dollar Store. I got thank you, the bowl, the scraper, the whisk, and the ladle, and that was $10. The pot underneath, we just got new pots and pans, so um, I would not use your wife's or your regular kitchen one. I would try and find something that can take the wax in case you do spill, which if you're careful, it's not really that hard. I made a double batch of the abrasive paste, so the 4 little tins of 16-ounce mineral oil. There's beeswax pellets, which I would always highly recommend the pellets because they melt easily. I used pumice. You can use, see, now I said it, pumice, and you can use diatomaceous earth. I just went for a medium grit pumice just because it was easy. Again, it was online. The most expensive part of this whole thing was the tins. And if you do it yourself, then it would obviously be cheaper because you don't need a tin. You can just use whatever Tupperware container you have. My ratio that I did was 4 to 1 to 1, 4 parts mineral oil to 1 part beeswax and 1 part pumice. The 32 ounces and 8 ounces, I split the batches. So I did 2 different batches on this, and I thought that I would do a whole big batch, but I think for melting and then cooling it, it's a lot easier just to have a small batch. I think it would go a lot quicker. Also with that, on the 4 to 1 to 1, you can change that ratio to like 5 to 1 to 1 if you want it a little softer, because then you'd have more mineral oil in it. I am big. I took a class in chocolate making. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the double boiler and what the chocolate class said to me, which was prepare. And I think for this is the big thing. It's called mise en place. It's French. It means putting everything in place or gathering everything before you actually do it. So get everything counted up, weighed. Everything is just there for you to grab and do. You'll see that throughout here where it's just ready for me to grab. It was all set. Everything was covered, so I didn't have to worry about the wax spilling onto anything. Um, yeah, so it worked out really nicely, just having everything there. Again, this is the mise en place, just having it all set and ready for us. So double boiler, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, because in the chocolate class, I was kind of surprised at this. I thought that when you had a double boiler, you put the bowl into the water. You do not. The steam is what goes there. So you want the bowl to be on top of the water and have a little bit of water there. You do not want the bowl to be like I've seen people where they put the bowl into it and then the top bowl is touching the bottom part. You don't want that. There is the reason for a double boiler is that you want to allow it to melt at a controlled rate. So you don't overheat it or scorch whatever it is you're heating, the chocolate or obviously the wax. And what happens with the wax and why you're doing this is that wax can overheat and then it reaches a flash point, which is 400 degrees, which is pretty hefty, but it can potentially ignite. This is why you want to do this. Keeps repeating. That's funny. So basically, make sure your double boiler is an actual working double boiler, not kind of a, I put a pan on top of another pan with water around it. This is what it looked like. I put everything in. The pellets, like I said, were a godsend. Um, and this was the start. So this was like ground zero for me. Um, I had the water was boiling, so the pan was hot. And this was after 8 minutes. It was 132.6 degrees, and I was looking at it, and I'm like, it's not melting. So my husband grabbed his little thermometer. Thank you very much. And he's like, what's the melting point? And I'm like, I don't know. So we looked it up. It's 144 to 147 degrees is the melting point of wax. So we were not anywhere close, but once we hit it, this is 145.2, and this was at 9 minutes of being on that double boiler. Um, and it basically, you can tell in back, it's like, it's still pretty solid. But then this is 11 minutes, 2 minutes later. It just hit that boiling point or the melting point, and then it just went. And then here we go. Everything's melted, everything's beautiful. And again, this is the mise en place where you have everything there that you're going to need. So you don't need to grab something, oh, I forgot this or that. You just kind of think ahead. Um, this is me adding the pumice. I knew I bought the whisk. I don't know what I was doing here, but the whisk definitely made a difference. I had also cut this video down, but it didn't work when I sent it over to Jerry. I don't know what happened, but you can tell once you start whisking it, it just starts coming together. But it's still melted wax. It's still very watery. And at the end of this video, I do take the temperature again, and this is right after taking it off the double boiler, and it was 155 degrees. Oh, there it is. Never mind. So one of the things they suggest is putting it on ice. Um, it, I'm still not sure how I felt about that because when you put it on ice, it starts, everything on the bottom part of the bowl obviously gets kind of cloddy, and it takes, you just have to make sure and continue to stir it. I ended up not really doing the ice that much though, because I wanted to just see how long it would take to do it. And then this is when you can start seeing that it's um, getting a little bit cooler, sticking to the sides of the bowl, which is what I was doing when it was on ice. And this one is what? Thank you. 112 degrees. My notes are getting kind of crappy now. I was tired last night. But you can see it's kind of thickening up. This is where it actually thickens up. And if you look from here to the last one, there's a little bit of a color change in it. You can tell that the wax is kind of thickening up. Little 96 degrees. This is at 39 minutes after starting the whole thing. And then this one, you can again see that big color change. And I think here, this is 89.9 degrees, and this is like about an hour from when I started. And I'm like, okay, you can see where it's kind of clotting up on the top of that spatula where it just kind of sticks. And I was going for room temperature, but I think this is where I just kind of stopped because I figured the reason that you don't want it to be so liquidy is because you don't want that pumice to drop to the bottom. So I figured the pumice would stay on this one. It's not like it would drop on this now. I also, the chocolate class taught me to use what you have, and Wisconsin winter is a beautiful thing. So instead of ice, I sat outside and stirred it, put on my winter jacket and stirred it, and that also puts a little quickness to it, goes a little faster. Um, this is where I stopped, actually. This is 84.7 degrees. It's 1 hour and 4 minutes after I started. And then I started packaging it up. Again, the ladle came in handy. I don't know if you would want to do something else, but the ladle came in pretty handy. As you can see, not too much of a mess with it. And it's just a matter of getting it into the tins. And then boom, mise en place and beauty. And that's what we got for you. So we're selling them. We have them here. We're going to sell them for $6 a jar. Like I said, if you do buy one, I would really love the feedback if you would buy another. I mean, obviously, it'll take a while to go through these. If you would buy another, if it worked for you, if you like it, if, just give me feedback and we'll go from there. It is, so it's pretty, yeah, shoe polish is actually good. Yeah. Good reference. 40 degrees? Oh, I don't know. I think it would be just solid or solid or. It's like board butter where once you get that heat and friction on it, it'll melt it up a little bit. Anybody else?